Hello there, my name is Eladrium, and today we are starting a new series with a new game called Infraspace, a sci-fi city builder on Steam's Early Access. Ooh, look at that. Parallax background menu. That's actually pretty nicely implemented. I like that. Anyway, I have been watching this game for a while and wanted to finally get into it and give it a shot. So without further ado, let's start a new game. Now, our introduction to this game is that our spaceship, the Antares, experienced a hyperdrive failure and was stranded in deep space without any way to contact for support, meaning we are out on our own in the dark. And, yeah, we suffered some pretty serious damage. This ship just looks beat to pieces. I'm actually amazed we were even able to get in orbit around this planet. Though I will say, I think we did a pretty good job picking this planet out of the lot. Got pretty lucky here. It looks like we have an atmosphere on this planet, so good on that. Anyways, based upon the circumstances, it appears the chief engineer managed to save the ship but didn't survive, and with thousands of souls on board destined to be brought to a new planet to start a new life, the captain has tasked me with building up the necessary infrastructure on the planet below to build the parts we need to begin repairing our starship so we can get back underway. Now, despite my protest to the captain that I am but a simple Minecrafter, not an engineer, he told me that I was the best cardigan-wearing builder that they have, and that if we ever wanted to get these people to their new home, it would be up to me to save the day. Or not, this game really doesn't have a story yet, but that seems to fit the narrative of how badly this ship is beat up. Anyways, down here on the surface of the planet, we need to build up the necessary infrastructure, create and manage resources so that we can begin to repair our starship. And hopefully I can put my Minecrafter skills to good use, because if I really am the only engineer aboard this starship who can solve this problem, and if we are in as deep of space as this game implies, I've got at least a dozen more round trips on the ship before I can pay off my debt and colonize this planet for myself. And I'm pretty sure I'm not getting paid overtime for this little pit stop. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, this game doesn't have much of a tutorial, but straight out of the gate, I can see we have a few resources already allocated to us: concrete, steel, and some power. And we also have population, jobs, and housing down here in the bottom left. So I think our first goal is to get some more people down here and build up some houses and get some power going. So let's just take a look at the map. It looks like there's a bunch of resources over in this corner, but I think I actually want to start building out here somewhere a little more open. So the first thing that I'm going to do is get some more people to come down here, because it looks like we have 20 people and 20 housing, though I'm not exactly sure where those houses are, but we can pull out this little spaceport, and this will help us bring more passengers down from our ship, and they will help us colonize this planet. The next thing we need to do is get ourselves some of these really basic habitats, and we're just gonna place down a couple right here, and then we're gonna need to wire this up with some power. It looks like we have wind turbine technology, and it looks like this is also telling us we need to connect this with some roads. So we're gonna start with a very simple grid pattern down here, then throw down a wind turbine, and hopefully get some power going to our new colony down here on the surface. Let's see, what else is it wanting? Oh yes, it looks like it wants power poles in order to connect things. Hopefully we can get that fixed a little bit later. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So it looks like each of these units requires things. So this thing requires oxygen and water and some survival food. So let's take a look here and see what resources can supply us with oxygen. So it looks like an atmospheric processor can give us both oxygen and carbon, it looks like. So let's go ahead and build these over here to the side. I'm going to go ahead and build 2 of them just because I don't know what the resources will pan out to. And then we will connect those with some roads. So it looks like they're actually already connected. So here is the start of our new colony out here on the new world that we have started to live on. And it looks like our housing number has gone up, and we actually have a couple of jobs. Now, taking a look here, it also looks like we are not getting power to this atmospheric converter over here. So let's get that powered and see what happens. All right, so it looks like there's a truck that just left that facility here, and let's see, can we click on that, find out where it's going? Ah, yes, it's going back to here because I just moved that. So it looks like all of our resources are going to be delivered by trucks on these little gravel roads. And now that that's been delivered, this place is now getting oxygen. So off to a great start, I think. Now, it doesn't look like we have anything on the planet yet that will generate us new resources, so we're going to need to find a way to make more concrete. And it looks like this concrete factory right here is going to be the ticket to doing just that. And it looks like this requires sand and sulfur. And I did see over here that this is a sulfur mine of some kind. So let's go ahead and plop down some concrete factories right next here. We'll go ahead and plop down 4 for now and hook those up together with a road, and then pop down some mines on top of this to start making some more concrete. And after getting our power and concrete situation resorted, we now have a mini factory district over here, which is producing us concrete, which is increasing as we speak, along with a nice little storage area for us to store all of these resources in. Now, moving over here back to our starter area, planted down a few more little basic habitats here, but as you can see down here in the bottom left, we have quite a few less pieces of population than we do jobs available. So we're going to need to increase our population by adding more housing units. And already I can tell that this is going to be a game where we're going to have to micromanage pretty much everything. So looking over here at our basic habitats, it looks like we are going to need water and some basic survival food. And this water to air filter will be able to extract water out of the air for us. So we're going to go ahead and plop a few of those down here on each side and start generating some water. Now, I'm not seeing anything that is providing us with survival food, but looking up here in the top left corner, we have this microscope icon, which I assume is research, and it looks like the first item on our research tree is farming, and that requires some blue science. So coming down here over to the research tab, I see we have a blue science factory, and that requires iron and carbon to make some blue science for us. Now, because I'm an organized individual, I would like to keep all of my mines and the buildings that they supply their resources to really concentrated in one area. So over here, I saw some iron mines. Let's go ahead and plop down a few of these iron drills. We're just going to place this all around all of this because I don't want to have to deal with it later. And then we will get some roads, wire all of this up together, and then we will build our factories that we note over here to generate our blue science. And we also need to supply electricity to these drills as well. Everything runs off electricity in this world. That is a pretty neat feature. So have the game paused. We have our blue science factories built. Let's go ahead and plop down a couple more over here. And then also these require carbon, which comes from these atmospheric processors. So let's just plop down a few atmospheric processors around this whole area here and take a look at what we have. Go ahead and press play and let's see if things start getting delivered. Yes, looks like those drills are mining us iron, and hopefully very soon those factories will get filled up and we will be able to generate some blue science to build this next factory. Now over here, because our population is so much lower than our available housing, we have these options to modify our production that all of our resources make. And it seems like we can align things with the number of workers we have, the amount that we're producing, and the amount that we actually need here in these 3 columns. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust a few things down. I'm going to want to keep our concrete production pretty high, but we don't need a lot of iron right now, and we don't really need carbon or blue science being generated until we sort out our population. So let's go ahead and place down a few more of these basic habitats and get them hooked up and wired up to our grid system. And after waiting a few minutes with the fast forward button on, it seems that we have completed some research which will allow us to build a simple farm which will produce some basic survival food. So we're going to go ahead and add that out and just extend in this direction right here. We'll go ahead and build 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 of these for now. And then we'll need to wire this up to our basic gravel road. Once we have power to these things and have them aligned so that they can actually connect to the road, we can deliver them power, and they should start delivering us more survival food, which we will need to start upgrading our habitats. And because people don't seem to be flocking to our new thriving metropolis as quickly as I would like, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 more spaceports over here to the top. That should hopefully attract more people and help us get these basic habitats filled out so that we can start upgrading them. And after waiting a few more minutes, more people have arrived, and some of our habitats have upgraded from a basic habitat to something a little bit more nicer here. And as you can see, we're starting to get both people and supplies being delivered to these habitats so that they start upgrading. Now, looking at our spaceport, our immigration rate is actually pretty low, and the way that we increase that is by upgrading our habitats. Just what we did right there. You just saw that habitat upgrade from a basic one to a decent habitat. Now, our decent habitat, every time we upgrade, is going to start asking us for more resources. So looking at this right here, we're going to need more survival food, more oxygen, more water, but we're also going to need to get in some home appliances, which means we'll need to dive into our research tab and hopefully get our production up with all of our other buildings to start producing those new resources as well. But before we do that, we just unlocked a steel factory, which will help us boost our supply of steel. So let's go over here to the factories tab. We're going to go ahead and plop down 4 of these steel factories right over here. And then we're going to run some roads between them and then hook them up to our power grid, and also set up a storage facility over here so that we don't need to connect our various city centers all together quite yet. And as you can see here, the roads over here are starting to get a little bit busy with all of the resources that we have pulling in. So we do have some research tasks that we can do that will allow us to upgrade our roads, and those upgrades will allow our vehicles to start moving faster through the network. And I imagine at some point we're going to need to interconnect all of our various different districts that we have via either some trains or some other exciting technologies. But now all of our basic habitats have upgraded to decent habitats, and we have unlocked the building that will allow us to build home appliances, which all of these rich snobs seem to think is absolutely essential for rebuilding society so that we can travel back into space. But those home appliances are going to require microprocessors, which we will make from iron and a few other resources. So I think for now, we're going to stop and pause right here. We have a lot of things unlocked now, and things are starting to come together, but we are starting to get a lot more intricate and a lot more detailed with all of the things that we are needing to do. But I think overall, for our first city that we have, we're actually doing pretty well. We have quite a sizable population, quite a bit of jobs, quite a bit of housing. All of our needs and resources are being met, and I think overall we're off to a pretty dang good start. This game so far is pretty fun, but there is a lot of micromanaging that we're needing to do, and that's fun in its own right. So I think we're gonna pause right here. Before we go, I wanted to tab back over to the spaceship tab, because looking over here, it seems I missed something where we have the options now to supply this spaceship with types of resources. So over here, we have various things that we can repair on the ship, and each of those things will give us specific bonuses. However, to do that, we're going to need to build probably a dedicated factory to get our resources from our planet all the way up to our spaceship. But like I said, I think that's going to be it for this episode. If you like this episode and like this game and want to see more of the series, go ahead and hit that like button so that I know you want to see more of this. But until next time, that's going to be the end of this episode, and I will see you in the next episode.